Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Nerd Culture with the Sons of Glitches. I'm Remy.
I'm Neil.
I'm Mike.
And this is John.
All right. So, Mike and Neil, I'm going to let you guys take away because you guys had interesting topics and I do not.
Well, we're interesting guys, man.
Interesting is one of the
One
many
could
words
say
I
Mike
would
himself is a.
Yeah. We also enjoy long walks on the
one
beach.
One could say that Mike himself is an interesting topic.
I am a very interesting topic, especially because I'm getting older, which means I'm having old guy problems. You know, I'm having conversations with my doctor like, what the hell is this thing? It wasn't here last week. That's always fun.
That's a penis.
No. Actually, we're talking about my superfluous third nipple, John, but thanks for assuming.
It's a nubbin.
Gotcha.
It's a nubbin. One of the things that has been kind of a hot topic that I've seen a lot of people bandying about is...
Hot topic.
That's Hot Pockets, not Hot Topics.
I know, but it works.
One's a goth...
Yeah, I wasn't going to call him on that.
One's a goth store. One's a kind of a sandwich, I guess.
It's sandwich-esque.
Oh my God.
No. We are not. The conversation is not going to be a Hot Pocket.
Oh my God.
We're
not fucking derailing down that path this early in the podcast.
We'll
do that as a closer.
Derailing is what we do.
It is what we do, but you know, let's at least give the old college try at talking about something relevant. So I can't remember who brought this up, but I thought it was a great topic. Was this idea of a sort of a cold launch of a game? No build up, no announcement, no open beta, no no nothing. The game just drops. Happened with Apex.
Yep.
And
there have been a few in history. I seem to remember one of the was it a Fallout game? I know Xbox has released hardware like that.
Yeah, there's been a few games that are like, and it's live now.
Yeah, and by the way, you can go download it right now. Things like that.
Yeah, it was announced at E3, and it was one on the Xbox platform. I don't remember which game it was, though.
Yeah, I don't recall.
So
obviously it did a great, made a great impression.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, hey, we're talking about it, though. We remembered enough of that. I want to say it was Forza or something like that.
No, I guarantee it was not a Forza title.
I know, I'm just... Okay. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Or something like that. Something involving cars.
So I'm pretty sure it was a game that you used a controller for, that it was on a box.
Oh, that.
Yeah, it was the one with the guy.
The guy with the hair and the thing?
Yeah, who goes out with the girl.
So what about that topic did you want to explore?
Well, it's the pros and cons of doing it that way that's kind of got me fascinated, because as I'm looking at the difference between an Anthem's easy example, or Division 2 actually is another easy example right now. These games that have launches that seem to go on forever. And
years of build-up, yeah.
Right. It's all this build-up. And during that time, so the upside of that is you're giving your game exposure, you're building publicity, theoretically, you're building hopefully positive press, etc., etc., etc. The downside to that is that in this crazy-ass fucking overhyped nerd culture that we all live in now, and that certainly nobody on this podcast thrives on, but other people in the gaming company might. Or in the gaming sphere might, rather. You're giving people so much time to pick apart every single solitary little thing that you do, and bitch and moan and complain and gripe and all that stuff.
Wait. You're saying that people on the internet complain about things?
Well, it's been known to happen on occasion.
Wow.
I know. Hard to believe. But
you know, when they do bitch about something, it's about something really important, because it's so
it's legit every time.
You really have to take it to heart.
And it's always backed by a factual argument, rational thinking, and really well-structured logic, I've noticed as well.
and solid good discourse, right?
And of course, well-structured language.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Let's not forget about that. Yeah.
These are very well-spoken people. They've clearly studied grammar at a very high level. Let me put it this way: they are as concise, coherent, and well-spoken as our president most of the time. And shots fired. Oh yeah, yeah.
No.
Man, a
God,
bar
no.
so low you couldn't.
I went there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
a bar so low you trip over it.
the point that I'm laboring towards. The bar so low that you trip over it. Oh, that's him in a nutshell. The point that I'm getting at is if you just drop your game or your whatever your product, you don't sort of slow roll the release of whatever it is, an album, a game, whatever. You're not giving the community the chance to do that. And you wind up getting incredibly good buzz just by virtue of the fact that you're like, boom, finished product, here it is.
Like, holy shit, it's here. Yeah.
Well, not to mention what you save on marketing.
Well,
right.
that too. I mean, you still got to go out and spend that money
half.
to a certain degree, but I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of my question to you that I wanted to ask you guys about is doing it that way better than this, like, hey, we have an alpha and an open alpha and then a beta and then a closed beta, then an open beta, then a launch for pre-orders. Then,
So there's some
so
there's some pros and cons. I think we've listed a few of the pros already in terms of keeping people from taking part in your game. And more or less, you can't. There's no anticipation of what it could and couldn't be.
Right.
It's just there, and it's going to be judged on what the game is.
It is what it
which
is.
a pro.
Yes, absolutely.
But the other problem is you have to market your game. Literally, your whole marketing budget is going to be about a month long instead of like 6 months long, which is,
Well,
good in the sense of like you're not spending as much money, but also now you have to like really consolidate. So like people in the gaming world who game lightly but don't follow like the gaming market and gaming news necessarily may not even know this is a game that exists. And so that's a problem when you haven't marketed it for the last like 6 months or 2 months or whatever it is. So I don't know. One big thing though in this one, which is interesting because EA has 2 games coming out in this first quarter. We thought it was only one, but it's 2. The first that we knew about was good old Anthem,
Right.
which has a demo and a VIP demo, and a lot of people are excited about it because of those demos. A lot of people are complaining about it because of those demos, because of the servers issues that they had and stuff like that. And so I think it's interesting because you can directly compare these two, because I know some people are saying, no, I'm not going to buy Anthem just because it was EA. Or because it's EA, it's going to be a bad game, or it's going to be slogged with predatorial microtransactions. And
I do not know one person that
marketing
said anything
strategies.
close to that.
yeah, I don't know
Really?
anyone like that.
I know people are worried about Anthem, or there's been a long-term worry about what Anthem's going to have in it in terms of microtransactions. It's been revealed that it's not going to be anything other than cosmetic, and all sorts of things like that. They've been more or less having to like put out small fires like that, from what I've been seeing on Twitter and such.
There's definitely no people that are currently making this podcast that have said anything like this before.
No, God, no.
Oh no, I'm not saying on this podcast,
But you
necessarily.
may as well, dude. That is me. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, well, but Neil raises an interesting point there, because I haven't heard jack shit from anybody saying, "Oh, I'm not going to try Apex Legends because it's EA." I haven't heard that that at all.
So, the thing about Apex, I think that dropping it the way they did was ingenious. I think that was a wonderful idea, because EA does have a horrible stigma, whether you agree or not. It has a really bad track record of microtransactions and being the worst company to work for. It's a bad apple.
Oh, it totally does.
It's a really, really big bad apple, but it's still a bad apple. So with Apex, they released it out of nowhere, which is, I think, a really cool move to begin with, because I'll go into reasons that I think that that's probably the best approach to well, not the best approach, but it's a better approach than this long form alpha, pre-alpha, beta bullshit that we've gotten so accustomed to. But the reason you don't hear the bitching is because people got their hands on it immediately, so they don't have that stigma of, ooh, what's it gonna be, and it's free. So it's, you get in there, you find out exactly what it is. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Period. There's really no gray area there.
Yeah, and in this age with like where No Man's Sky was promising this and that, you know, how much confidence do you have in a developer when they say, "Oh, we promise there won't be loot boxes in this game"? I was like, okay, I kind of believe you. You know what I mean? Whereas when the game is out in front of you, there's the answer. You have 10 articles describing what kind of microtransactions are in the game, how they affect the game, and all that stuff. And you can figure it out because the product is there in front of you.
The thing that we've gotten so accustomed to with the pre-alphas, alphas, pre-betas, betas, closed betas, open beta, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
I managed to get my hands on a pre-alpha invite to Destiny back in the day. I was really excited about it. I bought a PS4 so that I could play it, and I played the shit out of it, enjoyed it, and then I played the alpha, and then I played the beta, and then the next beta. By the time the game came out, I didn't really have a drive to play, and I burnt out on that game really quickly because I had already put in my time. I think that model is absolutely devastating to games.
You know what? And that's funny. I didn't even think about that. But we have games like Fortnite and PUBG that sit in beta for years.
Yeah.
Ever.
I mean, I understand. We've talked briefly, I think, prior about why Fortnite does it. John brought up a really good point that I hadn't even thought about.
Right.
Which is it allows them to do weekly updates.
Right. It circumvents the rules of the system.
Yeah, and so I get that and I understand that, but it's still frustrating to know that game will never leave beta.
Right.
And it'll never, the developers will never say it's a quote unquote complete game. So what's really cool is to have them say, here it is. Yes, we're going to do patches. No, this game is completely finished. It's yours.
Well, so here's something else to. So what I'm hearing is, you guys like this approach because it doesn't give the peanut gallery time to get pissed off.
That's a huge
More
thing.
or less.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't play on the fears.
Well,
a little bit,
but
you know what I mean?
You get an opportunity to know exactly what you're getting into immediately. You don't have to wonder whether or not you're going to enjoy it, because you can actually find out right here, right now, whether or not you like it. There's no bad press. There's no developer getting on stage saying something idiotic, starting some controversy, because the internet and its controversies. It's just a consistent turmoil of issues and people saying stupid things.
And let's be honest, though. I think if this had happened like 4 years earlier, we may not have been as impressed by it.
Oh, probably not. No.
But happening in the climate that is happening today, or not the climate, because I think things are moving away from a lot of the issues that we have had with games. But
are we?
I don't know. Now I'm thinking about it. Fallout 76 was riddled with issues, and I know that game is. I've talked to people that love that game and think it's a lot of fun.
Well, John plays it all the time, doesn't he?
I've kind of stepped back on it because it's gotten worse instead of better.
That game is in deep fucking shit. That game is in serious trouble.
That game has been controversy after controversy after controversy. They cannot do anything right.
Yeah, well, it's because Bethesda, and John just said it, Bethesda has no idea how to fix that game. It's become quite clear as they've rolled out patches and they've made changes. They are active, and testaments from players back this up, and critics back this up. They are actively making the game worse, not better.
Yep.
Yeah, didn't they add back in the paperclip glitch or something like that a couple weeks ago?
It wasn't even a glitch. It was a misweight, mislabel
Right.
of weight.
Right.
You know, basically 10 bobby pins were a pound, which is just crazy to start with. And then they fixed
Heavy-ass
it.
bobby pins.
And then another patch came and they unfixed it. And it's just like I don't understand what
I don't
when you go
understand
through
what's
on this patch. I was
happening.
like, you know what we need to touch on again, these bobby pins, because I tell you,
These titanium
people are
body
hoarding
bobby
those things.
I would say,
And the real crazy
yes,
thing about that whole thing,
I see the bobby pins are quite heavy, unbeknownst to most people, as I will now show you by making them this weight in my video game. What the fuck? How is this a thing? How is that a
Bobby
thing?
pins made of
Sorry, John.
tungsten carbide.
What were you gonna say, man?
Unbelievable.
well, the crazy thing about the whole thing with the bobby pins in general, and it's not the end of the world either way. I mean, you could dump all your bobby pins on the ground. You don't need them for anything. Yes, they open chests, but how the game's set up, you don't need to open chests. Opening chests is nothing. It's the shittiest loot. You get better loots for farming legendaries, right? You don't get anything from the chest, so and so they're boxing themselves out of their own program. They're like, oh, here's these bobby pins, and also you have to equip perk cards to be able to unlock anything lower than the shittiest lock known to man, right? And otherwise serve no other purpose on a finite perk build for something that you don't even need to do.
I think the sad thing about Fallout 76 is it comes from a place where I think a lot of people that played Bethesda games, specifically like Skyrim and the Fallout series, kind of there was this underlying thing in the community saying, "Oh man, wouldn't it be cool if you could like run around Skyrim with a friend?"
No.
And it was never like
it would not be
and
cool.
it was never like
It would.
well no well here's the thing it was never hey, wouldn't it be cool if Skyrim was an MMO? I don't think anybody was thinking that. I think it was mostly like, I'd really like my buddy to come in Skyrim and we can like fart around in Skyrim and then like call it
Just
a day,
us
like
two.
co-op.
Nobody else.
Yeah.
See,
Right.
that's a whole conversation.
100% agree.
And I don't think they're saying, oh, well, I always want to do the campaign in Skyrim with my buddy. I think they just wanted that add-in of like, hey, yeah, your friend can hop in here with his gear and you guys can kind of fart around this cool world that we made.
So, Mike, that's a question I'd like to pose to you. You're a big fan of those types of games, Witcher and Skyrim and things of that nature.
Yep.
So, with that adventure style, I've never played Skyrim. I've never played The Witcher. I've never played those epic single-player adventures because, personally, I prefer to play games with friends.
Yeah.
So, would you not...
Well, but you're familiar with them because of Legend of Zelda and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
correct?
of course, yeah. I've played through single-player campaigns. I'm in the middle of Kingdom Hearts right now. One of my favorite games of all time is Kingdom Hearts, and Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker. Some of those are my all-time favorite games. But if you gave me the opportunity, if I were able to play Sora and Neil, you were able to run around as Roxas in Kingdom Hearts, fuck yes, 100%. I would love that. I prefer something that I can play a single player. Like Fable. Fable's a good example. I can play a single player, or I can invite a friend and they can be in the world with me and play alongside me in my adventure. Do you...
I actually didn't know that was a thing with those.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. Well, Fable 2, they kind of did a shitty job with it, but Fable 3, they perfected. It was great.
And then they closed down, so...
Yeah.
Well, there's that. But, so... I know you're very big fan of those games, Mike. Specifically, Neil, I know you got your BioShocks and all those things as well, and that falls in the same category. So, with games like that, would you want that capability?
So old. You got your BioShock. Sorry.
Yeah,
Well,
you got your
there are
BioShocks, and
multiple.
I remember
How many BioShock games are there?
I was reading this.
There are 3. I understand.
Okay.
I'm not saying that
Okay,
you're
so
wrong.
it's
It just was
BioShocks.
funny.
Pluralized, bastard.
I understand. It was just funny to hear that as a plural.
So anyway,
I was having a phosphate down at the drugstore, buying my BioShocks and listening to FDR's broadcast on the radio about how we beat the Japs.
That actually
in World
sounds
War
like
II.
it would be in BioShock.
It kind of does.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that.
Anyway, to answer your question,
with those games, would you prefer that be an option, or do you like them just as they are, staunchly single-player adventures, and there's nothing to be improved there?
very situational, depending on the game. So
Okay, but any game, if I could put out there, any game could be improved given that option. You don't have to use it, but that option could always be there. There's
No.
no reason it shouldn't be.
No, I don't agree with that. So, so in some cases it would work, in some cases it wouldn't. But I wouldn't go so far as to say that any game would be improved by that. I mean, Witcher 3 is actually the whole Witcher series is the easiest one to pick on, and I will just because they're it's my all-time favorite. But so that game is predicated upon a narrative arc built in a very specific way around Geralt, and
Okay.
the game from a conceptual standpoint is designed to take you through that. There's another game actually that's
Well, I mean, to be clear, and I guess pardon the pun, I guess is what this would be, but you're a lone wolf in that game. Like that's kind of what
yes
your character is.
you are. But
And I think it'd be kind of cool to have like missions you could do on the side with somebody else.
are you gonna let me
No,
answer
see,
that? Are you gonna let
that's
me answer this
half-assed
question or
co-op.
not? Are you gonna let me
That's
answer this
half-assed
question or
co-op.
not?
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
thought about this. So
Go on. Go on.
in the case of Witcher 3, no, I think it would take away from the core experience of the game. That is meant to be a great, and it is a truly great, maybe the best single player narrative RPG, action RPG ever made. It is damn near flawless. It's the top rated game on Metacritic for PC ever for a reason. It is the way it is supposed to be. I do not think it would be improved upon by a multiplayer element because that's not within the confines of the concept of the game. Now, there's another game actually that's on Game Pass right now. It's called Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. That is the exact same way, and it's actually you guys should go grab this because it's gorgeous. It is beautifully rendered. A really great looking game. The acting is phenomenal. It's creepy as shit. The combat's really
I've been
fun.
hearing really good stuff about it.
Go grab. I mean, it doesn't cost you a penny. Go download it. But same sort of thing. It is about the journey of this one character who's battling psychosis, and that's the game. That's your experience within that game. Now, something like Skyrim is different. So Skyrim is much more of, and you could say this about the Fallout games too. Skyrim, Fallout, some like Zelda Breath of the Wild, anything that's kind of, or some of the Assassin's Creed games are like this as well. Those are more sandboxy, right? Those are open world. Skyrim is the easiest one to pick on and the one I know the best. Because that's much more about exploration. It's about dungeon diving. It's much more about tooling around in the world. The story is there, but it's not the part of the game. Like there are side quests in Witcher 3 that are better than the main story of Skyrim and that are longer than the main story of Skyrim. So
You know what's funny, Mike? I was actually gonna agree with Remy that you could add a multiplayer element to most games, but then what's funny is he brought up BioShock as a offhanded moment, and I realized that Infinite would be yes, there's a multiplayer arena thing in that game, but in terms of the story and exploring that game would totally lose all of its vigor.
Yeah, well, and so
No pun intended, I'm sure.
And so Remy, for example, when we did some streams of Divinity, which I know you weren't a big fan of,
Yeah.
but in terms of, so when I played that game by myself, I got into the story, I got into the characters. It really I put 200 hours into that game. It really sucked me in. Playing it with other people, you lose that. you not to say that playing co-op in that game isn't fun, it is, but it's a totally different experience.
It's just a different kind of
It's
game.
a completely different experience. You're focused more on the combat, and you're like it's like, oh, how should I do this build and blah blah blah. You don't give a shit at all about the characters or the writing or the acting. Or the through line of the story, all of which is fantastic. You lose all that.
See, where I'm coming from, I prefer co-op games. That's my favorite part of gaming, is playing with my friends.
Yeah.
Not necessarily against, but generally going through a story with my friends. The Borderlands of the world, the Halos of the world. I have played through both of those games single player. I have played through those games with 2 people. I've played through those games with 4 people. And every single time I've enjoyed myself. Like you said, it's very different. So why not add an option? Whether it's the way you want to experience or not, why not have that option? Why is that degrading to a game
I don't
rather
think it's
than an addition?
I don't think it's degrading to a game. I just think that it is a conscious choice that the developer can make based on the way the game is constructed. And in some cases, I think it's like I said, I'm not saying that it should never be there or always be there. I'm saying it's very situational. I would have loved a co-op mode in Skyrim. Co-op in Skyrim would be fucking awesome, which is why Elder Scrolls.
I'll probably never play Skyrim because it's not.
What's
What's
fun about that particular example is because it's a sandbox and you get in some weird kind of situations in Skyrim.
Yeah,
It'd be a lot of fun to share that with
it
someone.
would be.
To share. Yeah, we went into this village and suddenly 3 wolves attacked and we had to deal with whether or not we wanted to and then they blamed us for the wolves or something weird like that.
That's what it boils down to, is that shared experience, that shared, like, oh my god, do you remember that time when we were playing and this happened? And it's, otherwise I'm telling somebody, oh, I was playing Skyrim and this dragon attacked. Nobody fucking cares. They weren't there. They don't care.
And Remy, I would say that most games, I think you're right, that would work well for it. But I keep thinking back to particularly BioShock Infinite. I think I can imagine BioShock the original being, and yes, I understand a lot of the story pivot points wouldn't work for co-op in the original BioShock, but particularly the Infinite, the relationship you have with the non-player character of Elizabeth is such a pivot to that reason that game is so good. I don't think it would be good with the co-op.
But
so I think that.
But if it's an option, that's just the way you experience the game. You can choose to experience it single player and enjoy that connection with a non-player, or you can have something to talk about with a friend. I personally think that any game can be improved upon. I will likely never play through The Witcher or Skyrim or any of those games simply because I'd prefer to play a game with you guys. The only reason I'm playing single players right now is because I don't have a fucking internet.
Yeah. Well, the problem with the BioShock Infinite example would be you would more or less need 2 Elizabeths, and I know from my experience of playing through Halo with you in the past is I don't remember what the hell happened in Halo 3 until I played it through recently, because every time I played it through with you, we would be talking about stuff and I never paid attention to the story.
Yeah,
so
but that's a choice.
I had a lot of fun.
You have that option of playing it by yourself.
I understand I had a lot of fun with Halo, but I think that the gameplay in Halo holds up enough to that we could have fun, and there's some weird wonky experiences you can have that game with that gameplay that I don't think you can have with the same kind of gameplay in BioShock Infinite.
I don't know. I've said my piece. I completely disagree with everything you guys are saying.
Shocking.
I get what you're saying.
Really?
You
and I don't.
There's a few examples where it doesn't quite work.
I know, Mike. This shocks you, but
you and I don't see eye to eye on this. I'm flabbergasted. Really? You think every
Mike, or John, you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, John's been quiet for like a half hour.
I was letting you guys. I mean, you are very passionate about this particular. But ultimately, just to cast my vote, so it's a good even tie, and we won't get any resolution. I agree. I actually agree with Remy, And you know what I would say to give an example is, and this is going to make a lot of sense to a lot of people. I think it's important for a fish restaurant to serve chicken tenders. You know, you don't have to eat the chicken tenders, but if you want to,
See,
they're there.
That's excellent. Well said, John. I completely agree with that.
I love
You don't
I
have
love
to
that
fucking
John
eat
is
the
like,
chicken
let me
tenders.
bring it down to food for you.
Jesus Christ, that is the most southern explanation you could possibly give. It's like, well, they might serve this one sort of fried food, but I want to know the other fried food is there. That's all I'm saying. It's just,
Dude, I'm just throwing it out there.
I can hear my
There's this
grandfather
place.
saying that. I swear to God.
There's this place in Simi Valley, California. If any of you ever get there, you go to Mission Burrito. They have the best burgers on this planet. Straight up.
Did you say Mission Burrito?
Mission
has
Burrito
the best
has the
burgers?
best burgers. Totally.
Only in
On the
fucking
planet,
California,
I
man.
seriously doubt that.
Oh
I
my
go-
God, they're so fucking good.
I seriously doubt they're the best
They
burgers
are.
on the planet, man.
All right. Well, on the planet of the burgers I've had, which, to be fair, quite a few. One
Okay.
of the best burgers on this planet. They're fucking awesome.
Okay,
I-
Remy, we need to go there.
like
and I'll
that,
try to
I
be
feel
an
like that each
unbiased
one of
opinion.
us will have a place like that we would say is the best burgers that exist. And I feel like if we're ever stupid rich and have plenty of free time, we should make it a point to drag each other to all of our favorite burger joints.
I'm all about it.
Have a
100%. I am
competition.
100% on
but-
board with that.
All right, well,
But John, does the burger joint you're going to take us to have chicken?
Yeah, they do actually.
most of them do.
Bet your
And
ass they
whatever
do.
you
You don't
want.
have to eat it.
They'll drop anything in that fryer for you, buddy.
Anyway, so
You know what?
I
On
do-
that note, hang on real quick, Mike,
Yes.
real quick. On that note, it pisses me off when Mexican restaurants will not fry their fucking burritos and make me a chimichanga.
oh my God.
Go on. They've got the fucking grease. They've got the burrito. Fry it. Go on. All right. You were
All
gonna
right,
say
actually,
something.
now,
I love how that.
Act-
I love how that makes a perfect analogy for Remy, where it's like the artist, like the chef back there, the quote unquote artist is like, no, it's meant to be eaten as a burrito. He's like, just chimichanga it for me.
Fuck you. Fry the goddamn thing. It'll be better.
actually, I'm kind of with you on that.
I mean, yeah.
I'm with you on that
I
one,
agree
Remy.
with that too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we agree.
No, well, hey, look, you and I may not agree on a lot when it comes to gaming, but when it comes to
But
general
food.
general philosophies on life, I think we're we're friends for a reason.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
So, I wanted to talk at least for a second about what's happening with this show, The Expanse, that I'm a huge fan of, and a huge fan of the books as
Dude,
well.
I've seen the first season and I've listened to the audiobook just to kind of put my credentials on the table. It's fantastic.
It's so
I
fucking good.
really want to see season 2.
Okay, so what is it?
Okay,
I
so
thought it was the show with Kevin Bacon. Apparently, that's not it.
No,
And now that I
so-
say that out loud, I think that was the following.
is it where he saves the universe with his dancing?
that's
uh,
Footloose. That's Footloose.
Yeah.
Great movie.
No, I think the one I'm thinking of is called The
good movie.
Following. But you know what?
Oh,
if
yeah,
you're gonna
yeah,
guess
yeah.
an actor, Kevin Bacon is a good one to guess. He's in a lot
So,
of shit.
apparently, you can
You're
connect
trying
him.
to do the.
Did you guys hear about this thing? It's brand new, just came out, where it's 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right? I'm sure nobody's ever talked about this before. Brand new thing, right?
6 degrees.
Whatever,
straight,
6,
Mike.
7, fuck it, whatever.
I think I saw an interview with Kevin Bacon where somebody brought that up. He goes, "No, I haven't heard of that actually," which is kind of funny.
Was the
You
interview
know, he
from
actually turned that
1995?
into. He actually
Yeah, it
turned
was
that
an older
into
one, but
a charity event. There is now a charity event called 6 Degrees, and he
That's
runs
pretty
it.
awesome. All right.
That's
Anyway,
pretty
I
fun.
want to talk
He's-
about this.
yeah.
I want to
Go
talk
ahead.
about this fantastic show, and you guys are ruining it.
That
by
has
talking
nothing to
about
do with Kevin Bacon. Go on.
Nothing to do with Kevin Bacon. So it is I would call it a darkly realistic space drama set in the 23rd century, based on a series of what is soon to be 8 novels by James S.A. Corey, who's not a real guy. It's actually 2 guys who write under that pen name. Books are fucking fantastic. But I'm in the middle of reading them now because I had seen the show before I knew the books were a thing. So I like ordered all the books.
Oh,
but-
real quick before I
Yeah.
forget this, Remy, you have access to my audiobooks. Leviathan Wakes is the first book.
yeah.
Oh,
It-
okay, cool.
yeah.
I will check
Yeah.
it out.
Definitely check it out. So, but anyway, the first 2 seasons are on Amazon Prime. The third one's going to be available on Amazon Prime. Just you don't have to buy them; they're just free with Prime. Starting tomorrow, season 3 is on Amazon Prime. Season 4 just wrapped production. Here's the awesome thing about this show. So, season 3 has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. 100%.
Wow. Season 3?
Season 3 has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
At the end of season 3, the show was canceled by Sci-Fi. There was a fan campaign. There was a fan campaign to save the show. They did a GoFundMe to fly a banner over Amazon headquarters saying "Save the Expanse." You know, like one of those banners that planes pull, the planes fly across the beach.
That's
The
pretty
one that
awesome.
say Accidente on them?
It said "Save the Expanse." Please, Amazon, save the Expanse. Amazon picked it up.
That's pretty awesome.
It's
So that's like
fucking
the serenity
phenomenal.
of today.
It's absolutely terrific. The show's great.
So what's it
really-
about? Give me a synopsis, a present.
So the
short.
Okay, so the short version is that in the 23rd century, humanity has colonized the solar system. The UN controls Earth and Luna, which is what we call the moon, apparently.
Sure.
Mars is an independent military power. The rest of humanity is strung out across the asteroid belt, or what they just call the belt. And there's resources coming in from the asteroid belt are keenly sought by the inner solar system. There's tons of political tension and all that stuff because of who controls the resources and how they get them. And I'm trying to think of how to describe this in more detail without getting
Okay.
spoilers.
To
A bunch
shorthand it,
of crazy
it's
shit
sci-fi
happens.
Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Mike's like, no, I'm going to explain this.
Yeah.
Real shorthand is that it's hard sci-fi Game of Thrones.
Like think Game of Thrones in space.
Okay. Well, then I'm in.
You basically
That-
have the tone.
That's all you
Yeah.
needed to say.
Yeah,
I'm
Game of
starting it
Thrones in
tomorrow.
space. Yeah.
And by hard sci-fi, I mean they do things like, okay, our destination is here. We are going to accelerate at 1g halfway there, turn around, and then decelerate at 1g the rest of the way, so we have gravity on our ship.
Yeah, and like they address stuff like if there's a turn and burn is a phrase that they use a lot. So, but in order to handle the G forces placed on the human body when you spin a craft around in space and then hammer on the thrusters and rocket forward as fast as you possibly can, they have pilot injection seats that inject you with this chemical cocktail to keep you from like dying or passing out or dying while you're at incredibly high G force. So
That's fun.
it's really well thought out. Awesome piece of character building and world building. It's got tons of action. The story's great. Oh God, I can't wait for season 4. I'm so excited.
I will check it out. That sounds
You really
that sounds
should.
like it's right up my alley. Yeah.
John,
I'm
have
all
you
about
watched? Have you watched this?
And I heard, I haven't seen it, but I heard that there's a co-op mode.
There is a co-op mode. There is a co-op
Call
mode.
But
back.
only if you want it.
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
Well done, John.
No, it actually sounds. I mean, space Game of Thrones. Yeah, you would have had me hooked on that as well.
Yeah, that's really all you got to say.
It's solidly in both of your wheelhouses. I say that with confidence. Check it out.
Absolutely.
You won't be disappointed.
No, I will absolutely
It's a
check
little
it out.
bit less convoluted as Game of Thrones. I would, or at least from what I remember, season 1, the cast is not as pun intended expansive, but the you kind of have more of a political thing going on Earth. You have a political thing going on Earth, a little bit of mystery thing going on in the asteroid belt with like a cop mystery thing going on,
It's a
and
cat.
then a Firefly-esque crew trying to get away from the bullshit that they just landed in, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of the way it starts. And Neil, to that point, it branches out quite a bit in seasons 2 and 3. And
Good, because that's what they needed to do with that, from what I felt anyway.
yeah, the scope gets bigger. The expanse expands, if you will. Oh, you see, ha ha ha.
Hold on, you can't
Okay,
see it.
real-
But I
real
put
quick,
all my
segue
fingers
here.
to my forehead. What was that? I said you can't see it, but I put all my fingers to my forehead and then I blew outwards as you said that.
Wow.
That's not
So
the first time
speaking
he's
of
blew it.
Well played.
speaking of Game of Thrones, by the way,
Yes,
everybody here is caught up, correct?
correct.
Yes.
Okay. We are watching it. We're 5 episodes from finishing it the second time around. And I tell you, it is such a different show watching it the second time. There
No,
are
absolutely.
Knowing
so
everything?
many little things. Well, it's not only knowing little things or everything, it's picking up on the little nuances. Like when Daenerys returns to spoiler, by the way, for anybody listening. When Daenerys returns to Dragonstone. I totally forgot that we had seen Dragonstone with Stannis before. Totally slipped my
Oh,
mind.
yeah.
Because I didn't know that it was a thing. I didn't. Okay, they're in a castle. Who the fuck cares? But now that you know all the history and everything, every little movement, every piece of symbolism, every offhand comment, the last meetings of characters, everything just carries so much more weight, and it's such a good second watch. I generally don't watch a show twice.
Yeah.
But this one, I am so happy that I did, because there were so many, like the last time that Ned and Caitlin talk, you don't realize that, oh shit, this is huge implications.
This is it. Yeah.
And there are a ton
Yeah,
of
that
little,
first episode is a bit hard to watch the second time through.
It really
Yeah.
is.
yeah.
It really is.
was
So the
hard to
first
watch
time
the first
Oberyn,
time.
the first time Oberyn Martell shows up and just sort of swaggers in there like he owns the place, you're
Ugh.
like, oh, this is gonna go so badly for you.
It's heartbreaking.
It really
But
is.
it's little things that, like, oh god, we'll start an episode, I'm like, oh fuck, this is the fill in the blank here. It's like, oh man, oh, like when Hodor, when I realized what episode we were in, I'm like, oh man.
Well, even so,
Like,
there,
I don't want to
there
finish
was.
this.
I still so there's a Hodor Easter egg in the new Kingdom Rush. Did you catch that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and when I saw it, like any sort of reference to that, I'm just like, too soon. Too soon. That's not cool.
Dude, 100 years from now, it'll still be too soon.
100 years from now is way too soon. It's like making fun of FDR for having. It's like, oh, lamer than FDR's legs. Too soon. Okay, it's
Oh,
like
Jesus.
can't do that.
So I held back for just a second, though, real quick, Remy.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with what the actor who played Oberyn Martell is going to be in?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
am
What?
so fucking excited
just
for
got
him to be
cast
in The
in-
Mandalorian.
Yes,
I think
thank
Remy
you.
just had an orgasm.
Dude,
Yeah, yeah.
dude, I
Pedro-
am so
Pedro
fucking
Pascal is
excited
my-
about that.
Pedro Pascal is my boy. He's awesome.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
cannot
I just wanted
wait
to make
see
sure you
what
had
he
heard that
does.
news, because that is a fun casting right
Dude,
there.
Yeah,
it's
that's really
Oberyn, directed by Jon Favreau, who did the first Iron Man movie. Oh,
First two Iron
I'm-
Man movies.
Yeah, that's true. But I cannot fucking wait for Disney's streaming service. It's going to
Well,
be
hey.
everything I need.
The Loki show, a Scarlet Witch show, Mandalorian.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah, I'm all in. I mean, even without that shit, I'd probably be buying it anyway because I have to for my kids.
Shit,
But
dude, it's the entire Marvel catalog, it's entire Star Wars catalog. Right there, I'm sold.
oh
And
yeah, totally.
Fucking Pixar and Disney and everything. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Take my money.
yeah, I'm in.
I need it.
I'm in.
It's
Shut up and
something I
take
need
my
in
money.
life.
Shut up and take my money.
Now, speaking of that, I'm
honestly,
we are 15 episodes from the end of that stupid show too.
Okay.
Sure.
So the game.
Okay,
Have a-
no, hold on. I cannot let Futurama being a stupid show stand.
Okay.
That is an
No,
extremely
okay.
smart written show.
The first 5 seasons or so were phenomenal. I really enjoyed myself. This last season is really tough to get through.
Actually, yeah. You know what? After 5 seasons, though, I understand.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
God,
I get
you're
it,
killing
but
me.
I'm
Oh,
going
God,
to.
you're killing me.
I'm 15 episodes from the end. Obviously, I'm going to finish it off, but I have not truly enjoyed an episode in quite some time.
That's too bad.
Yeah, it
Did you
really
catch
went
the
down.
episode where, you know how the first bit, there's a different line underneath the title screen every time?
Yeah.
Did you catch the one that said, "Not the one with the dead dog"?
Yes, But I also love that they reference that event again in the future, and
Yeah.
it's a whole different story that we didn't see. It's fantastic. I actually very much enjoyed the first 4 or 5 seasons of that show. It was stupid, to be sure, but I love me some Zoidberg. Zoidberg fucking cracks me up.
With my last breath, I curse Zoidberg. Oh.
Sorry, Mike. I interrupted. I interrupted something you were saying with diverting to the Mandalorian.
Oh no!
I
Actually, I was going to bring it back to Game of Thrones, but I think I heard John trying to get a word in edgewise. John, stop being so polite and interrupt us.
Yeah, you're too damn quiet, dude. It's weird.
Well,
That
you
Southern
know,
hospitality.
that's probably, and I could be wrong, but probably because there's 4 of us trying to say something at the same time sometimes. That might be why, I don't know, but we'll get them in where we can. So I think that, we mentioned a little bit about the Disney streaming service coming, and, for the reasons mentioned, I absolutely will be getting it as well. But it kind of scares me because it sets a precedent that anybody can do that, right? And then suddenly there's 20 different streaming services, and maybe you like 2 shows on each one of them, and then you are having to pick, and that it's a worse option than cable at that point.
Aren't there already though? Is
No,
that
there's
not
not that
already
many.
the case? Well, okay,
No,
list
there's
them
not
off.
really
I've
that
got.
many. There's a few.
I have access to Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Stars, Showtime, Cinemax, HBO. What am I missing? So that right there is what, 8?
Yeah, and that's 8, and what I said was 20. And
Okay, fair.
just think of it this way:
Smart
how much money do you spend on that? To get those things.
Well, depends on whose login I'm using that day.
I knew that's what we were getting to.
Well, step away from using other people's logins. Let's say
Jen-
these are all in the name of your name.
Straight up,
And, how much?
I spend about $60. $60 a month.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
And then Disney's coming, so that'll be another. I don't know how much it's going to be. What, another probably 10 or 15, right?
They said
probably
cheaper
10 to
than
15.
they said cheaper than Netflix. So whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
good on them.
Well, Netflix is
whatever
like
the
12, so it could
yeah.
be.
So whatever the
you know,
fuck that means,
11.
right? So $10.
But okay, so
Yeah, we'll
say I spend $80 a month on all my streaming choices, right? The average cable package, which I fucking hate cable, is
Yeah, me
like
too.
$1.20, isn't it?
If you want HD 4K content and you want
Well, and
the
that's what I
premium
get with all
channels
my
and-
streaming services.
Well,
So, yeah,
right, me
of
too.
course.
So yeah, I'm by the way in violent agreement with you on this one.
Right, because
I
it's
mean,
not
yeah.
video on
Wait,
demand
did you think? Wait, did you say you get HD with all of your streaming services?
with the vast majority of them. Yeah,
I was gonna say because like Netflix. we
Netflix
watched
does
Mad Max
4K.
the other night, and that shit was not HD.
Netflix does 4K. It depends on
Really?
the movie. It depends on
Yeah.
the movie and the company that puts it out. But yes, Netflix does 4K.
I've seen some not great resolutions during dark colors and all that kind of stuff. So
No,
that's why I was asking. Sorry.
Netflix, you have to pay for a certain configuration of their package to get it.
Right.
But they do offer
Yeah, I pay
4K,
for the top.
4K
Oh, okay.
UHD.
Yes.
HDR.
Gotcha.
So yes, I always pay for the top tier because I care about how my shit looks.
Yep, me too.
But ultimately, so I spend maybe with the Disney thing, maybe I'm spending $80. Let's ballpark that. If I'm getting that,
Okay.
if I were to get the same quality of cable, I'd be spending $1.20 or so, and it's nothing on demand. It's not worth my time. So I would
I don't know
prefer.
what kind of cable you guys have out there, but any cable I've ever had is that anything that they offer is on demand. All the stations that they have, you have free access to the app, Stars, HBO.
So that's changed since
Okay,
last
well,
time out.
yeah, I haven't had
access
cable in
to
some
that.
time. I cut the cord a long ass time ago. So maybe it's different now, but
It
from
is
my
pretty- it-
old
it is
timer
pretty
experience,
different,
I
and
prefer
granted,
to
I don't have
everything at
cable
my fingertips.
because right now, just having Netflix, I have Netflix, and actually I get Hulu as a add-on for having an unlimited plan for my cell phone provider. Okay, so I don't actually pay for that one, or I do kind of pay for that one, but it looks like it's in another bill.
Yeah.
So I don't have the cable then. But if I was spending 60, 70, 80 bucks a month to have streaming services, I absolutely would have no streaming services and just have cable instead.
Oh, see that we differ quite a lot because one of my clients at work is DirecTV Now, so when it first came out, I signed up for it. It was $35 a month at the time. Now it's much more expensive, but it was $35 at the time. I used it twice. Once was to watch a movie that just happened to be on. The other time because I was sick and I fell asleep to it. And I had it for 2 or 3 months. It was a waste of money because I fucking hate standard TV.
So what's funny about this is I'm kind of in the middle ground between you guys because I maybe have like $30 worth of streaming services, but I rotate them. I've had Netflix pretty much habitually for the last few years.
Oh, and I have YouTube Premium.
The other one or two that I have has been rotating over the last few years. Like I had Hulu for a bit, and then I moved over to I think I paid for a couple months of HBO and burned through some of the shows there, including speaking of phenomenal shows, Westworld.
Oh,
yeah.
Murdered my brain.
Dude, I
Talking about
cannot wait for
hijacking
the
my
third
brain
season.
for like, yeah, Westworld hijacked my brain for a good like month and a half.
Phenomenal.
But anyway,
show.
I found what's nice about the streaming services being able to rotate them around is you don't
for
have to lock in for a year. You can just choose a couple of them, do those for a few months, then move on to something else, then come back to them if you want to.
Yeah, because it's unlikely that you're using all of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I do with the I guess the premium streaming things like Star Wars or HBO. I wait till there's 2 or 3 shows that I'm ready to watch and do it for a month and just binge the fuck out of it, and then only pay for a month.
I did the same thing with is it Stars or is it Showtime that Homeland is on?
Showtime.
Yeah. So I burned through the first season of Showtime, or for the first season of Homeland, in I want to say 3 weeks, and then I canceled the subscription for that because that's what I wanted to watch on it.
Yeah.
I'll probably drop Hulu when I'm done with Futurama because there's nothing else on there that appeals to me right now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The only reason that I still have Hulu is because that's the only place, the only streaming service, and this actually, John, goes to your point about sort of the stratification of content that we're seeing, which is becoming a problem, is that's the only streaming service that has Bob's Burgers. I fucking love that show, and I just had that's kind of my background noise during the day. Like I'll put that shit on.
That's gonna be your life in a few years, right, Mike?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Mike's Burgers.
I mean, except for the whole owning a restaurant part, but
You don't know what the future holds.
Well, you are going to have that awesome stash, though, right? In like 10 years.
No, probably not. And I'm much better looking than Bob, and there's all that stuff. But in any case, but that is kind of the issue. Is like pretty much everything else that I watch is on. I don't actually even watch a ton of TV anymore. But when I do, it's really specific stuff, and it's almost all on Netflix or on Amazon. I only have HBO Now when Game of Thrones is on, and so this is probably going to be the last year I have to do that.
And Westworld.
I will catch up on Westworld while we do the Game of Thrones thing. I'm not as. It's a great show. I don't know that I'm willing to pay. I'm willing to pay to have HBO Now so I can watch Game of Thrones. I'm not willing to pay for HBO Now just so I can watch Westworld.
Fair enough.
It's a level of love I have for those two shows are not the same, but it is it is going to get to be a problem as more and more companies start going this sort of proprietary streaming route.
See, I don't know that it's going to be a problem because, like Neil said, you can always bounce between them. I think that's probably going to be more benefit than it is problem.
Well, okay. For now, yes, that's absolutely true. What if that stops being the case? So
yeah, I think Mike's right. We are approaching a point where that's
if
going
you
to be
start
more
doing
difficult.
that too much, they'll change it to where it's a contract.
Yeah.
These places are in the business of making money. They're not in it so you can get a 1-month subscription to watch the shows you want and then cancel.
Yeah, but they're still getting your $15.
Yeah, but they don't want $15.
Yeah, but they want your $150.
That's right. But I mean, for now, that's not the case. and that's good.
Yep.
But
No, you're absolutely right. That could be a problem.
You know, but
Yeah,
we're also
I
starting to
foresee
see
it being a thing.
I do too, and we're also starting to see. By the way, Amazon, if you're listening, take those fucking commercials off my Prime videos, okay? I don't want to see your goddamn commercials at the beginning of my show. Stop that shit. Stop it.
Although I would also argue that most companies that want to do the streaming thing aren't as robust as Disney is. So
Yeah, Disney could
yes,
get away
we can
with
see
locking
Disney
it in.
doing this.
Yeah.
But we're not going to see, like, for example, the Sci-Fi channel doing this. Does that
Oh,
make sense?
I'm sorry. So Project Alpha, which is Nerdist and Geek and Sundry, is already doing this. Rooster Teeth is doing this. You're
They've been doing that for
Yeah, they've had that's
Right.
a good
4 or 5
15
years?
years now.
right, but I'm saying you don't need to be, I mean, yeah, fine, Disney's the 800-pound gorilla walking around the room knocking shit over. I get that, but you don't need to be the 800-pound gorilla to do this. And
No, but yeah, it depends on what you want to watch. I mean, it really boils down to what your flavor is. Because I also have Rooster Teeth. I guess I should throw that one in there too. I have a lot of streaming services. Is what I'm realizing.
Yeah, and did you think? I'm just out of curiosity. Did you think of YouTube Red as well, or
I did mention YouTube Premium. Yes.
Okay. Because that's one of my 4 that I have.
It'll be a cold day in hell before I pay for YouTube. That's never happening.
Dude,
it depends on how much
I
you're
live
using
and
it
breathe
because
by it.
yeah,
well,
I'm actually thinking about canceling this soon
we're
just
not
'cause,
we're not
I'm
having
on
that
YouTube as
argument.
much.
We're not having that argument on the podcast,
Yeah,
Remy.
I didn't know it was an
I
argument.
hate to tell you, boys, you're not going to convince either one of us that that's a good spend. You just won't.
Oh,
do it.
I'm not. Never would I try to convince you. For me, it makes perfect fucking sense. It is an ideal service for me.
a while. For a while, it made perfect sense for me, but it's starting to make less sense for me. So I may cancel that soon, just because if I'm just the only one using it in my household, and I don't use it at work at the new job as much because I'm busy. The benefit's not there as like it used to be.
I consume about
what is
10
it
hours
for?
of YouTube every day.
I don't even understand what the hell it's for.
I
It's
download.
ads.
Okay, so I download videos. I have probably 300 or 400 videos on my iPad, so I can watch them offline. I don't have to deal with ads. I have access to Google Music's entire catalog.
Okay.
I get the premium shows, which Cobra Kai was very good. I really enjoyed that. There have been some really good premium shows. Ultimately, that's it. My biggest and you can play without the screen on, which I use that for listening to podcasts through my iPad on the way to work.
I use it for music and stuff.
It's, to me, it makes perfect sense. I totally understand that it is not for everybody, but for me, it is the perfect service.
No, I mean,
it's probably the last one I
be...
would ditch.
Remy, I need help understanding, and you might have told me this before, but I forget because you mentioned it here, and I feel like I've asked before, but I got to ask again. So, you use the YouTube feature to not have to have the screen up to listen to podcasts on your way to work.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yep.
You know, they just have a podcast app that just plays it.
No, I totally get that. But I also, so what I do is I have playlists and I have podcasts. I have the Sci Show. I have shit that I don't need to look at the screen for. And those things don't exist on podcast apps. So there are podcasts, there are mini shows, there are informational, there are music artists that I like 10-second songs is one of them. People that release things only on YouTube. Yeah, it's fucking great, and it just keeps playing.
So you throw podcasts into the random order of things that you're listening to.
Yes, absolutely. That's just something that happens to be in my playlist.
What he describes as podcasts aren't necessarily quote unquote podcasts. For example, there's a lot of educational stuff on there where the images they throw up on the screen are purely optional. Yeah, they're not needed to just show what they're talking about. It's just more to add flavor. Yeah, so it's just exactly so.
And it's not only that, but it's things like I follow marketing channels so I can learn more about the industry that I'm in. And it's people.
TED Talks
I listen
are a good
to all the
example
TED
that
Talks.
most of those you don't need to see the visuals.
Yeah, I listen to all the TED Talks. I listen to just a shitload of things that I don't need to see the screen for. But when I want to, I have that. And it's all downloaded on my iPad, so I just throw it on and I drive. I listen to probably 9 to 10 hours of YouTube every day.
If there's one thing, if there's something that's going to go on your tombstone, Remy, and I'll make sure it gets done for you, bro. This man likes options.
I like
That's
options.
what I'm gonna get.
I like fucking options. Don't restrict
This
my...
man wants the options for co-op on every game ever that exists. He wants
Yeah,
the
you don't have to use it.
to get his chimichanga deep fried at the Mexican
I want the
restaurant.
goddamn
He
chicken
wants the
strips.
option. I want the chicken
No.
strips.
John, what we
So
need to
that's-
do is we need to get Remy 2 different colored tombstones and put them next to each other.
Oh,
and one
Jesus
says this
fucking
man likes
Christ.
options.
Oh yes, yes,
And
yes,
then the
yes,
other
Yeah,
one
there
says
you
and
go.
some other options.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
Neil. That might
Well,
be
that's
the
it.
most genius thing you've ever said.
I love it.
Eh,
I love it.
I
Remy,
th-
Remy, we,
and,
we just planned your funeral, bro, and you didn't even know it was coming.
Yeah,
Dude, I love it. I'm all about it.
Well,
Now-
no, we gotta have two. We gotta have 2 funerals, right? One is going to be more somber, Sicilian mourners,
And they're
everybody in
competitive,
black,
right?
and the other one
Right,
is going to
right.
be much more of a celebration of life and much more upbeat,
Well,
right?
Also,
Yeah,
also
one of
when,
them's
when
free
you're
to
Everyone's
play,
playing
wearing
the
the other
tie-dye
one's
and
a
we're passing
$60
out
buy-in.
burgers from the burrito place.
when you're playing the songs, all you got to do is pick a bunch of songs that you like, put it on shuffle. I don't give a shit what comes on.
Yeah,
I just
one of
know
them
that
will
there's-
have a very linear pamphlet to go with your funeral. The other one will be a choose your own adventure.
Hell yes, dude. Oh, choose your own adventure pamphlet. That's fucking awesome.
Choose your own adventure at a funeral. Jesus
Well,
Anyway.
Christ.
I think we've explained ourselves pretty well.
Yeah,
in
I
this
think
episode.
that'll have to do for us tonight.
Yeah, I think that might be a good note to end it on. We just killed Remy twice in 2 different styles, so I
Hey,
think
as
we
long
might
as I
wanna
got an
stop.
option, man.
Love it.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Thanks for
thank you so
listening to
much
us.
for listening. Hope you enjoyed.
Thanks, everybody.
And, feel free to subscribe, like, comment, all that jazz. And we
Check
we
us
will
out on
look and
Discord.
comment back.
YouTube
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
and Twitch. At
Yeah,
Sons of Glitches.
YouTube, Discord, Twitch. We can be
Places.
found pretty much everywhere. Sons of Glitches.
Search for us.
All right, y'all have a
There's
good
something
night.
called Google. Use it. Goodbye.